morning. Let's go.
Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Will Motivation, back with another video, and today we're doing something special. We brought the Hellcat out, it's back there. We'll get some video of that in a minute. But today we're here to do something really important. We're speaking to the kids at Eastland Career Center in Columbus, Ohio about entrepreneurship and business. So we're gonna take you guys along with us. And I'm gonna show you a little bit about what I do and why I do it. All right, let's go.
Yeah, this is a nice classroom.
Okay. Yeah, I think I might use that.
Yeah, feel free to erase any of this. It's old.
I got this much. Tight.
For real.
I wonder. Oh, they got the screens. I could throw something up on the screen. They got all kind of passwords and stuff on there.
He probably knows them. That dude right there.
I'm gonna
break down the game plan real quick.
All right,
what you got planned?
Are you recording right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. All right. Game plan is to motivate the kids to think about business and entrepreneurship. So I'm thinking about whether I use the laptop to connect to these big giant screens up here and put like some videos playing in the background or something with no audio. That might be kind of cool. But I don't feel like I really need that too much based on what I plan on talking about. But we'll see.
Okay.
I think they're not supposed to wear hats up in here.
You alright.
Part of my costume, gotta have a hat on, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I gotta look like the videos. So.
You got through the fit.
But nah, here's what we're gonna talk about. And I haven't heard that in years, right? All right, here's what we're gonna talk about, Business 101. Why should you own your own business? That's what I'm gonna ask them. Reasons why you should wanna own your own business. Second thing I'm gonna talk about, who wants to be a millionaire? Basically what I'm trying to say with that is, if you work a 9 to 5, it's gonna be hard to be a millionaire with a 9 to 5. But owning your own business, most of these millionaires you see around here, that's what they have. Number 3, who am I? Story time. So that's gonna be the easy part. Tell my story, give them that background, context. Software engineering, starting a business, turn into an investor, and then a YouTuber. Then, do you need a college degree to start a business? What things do you need to start a business? Lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle can you have having a business? Good thing I got this. I hope that thing don't time out. But lifestyle, a lot of people see the cars and stuff like that, but I'm gonna explain to them. Before I had the cars, I had the cribs. All right, what does it take to start your own business? And then what kind of business would you run? Getting the brain, kind of start thinking. We got some students coming in, so that's good. What's good? How y'all doing? We about ready to, I can go ahead and start?
Hey! Quiet down! So, anyway, attention up here. Try to keep your conversations to a minimum. This man's taking his time out of his day to join us here. I don't know, it's a Friday. Y'all want to get out of here? That's it. Floor's yours.
All right, let's make the most of this. All right, my name is Will Moss. I'm right here from Columbus, Ohio. I went to Warner Ridge High School. So the title of this is Business 101. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. But in order for us to make the most out of this session, I want you guys to ask me questions once you know who I am and what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm gonna be talking about business. I don't know if anybody in here in the future has thought about having their own business. When I was like in high school, I don't think I thought about having my own business. I just didn't want to be broke when I was older. That was my main thing, because I grew up poor. But later on in life, after I kind of like followed the path, going to college, coming out, working in corporate America, I figured out I wanted to be an entrepreneur, because in corporate America, there was like a ceiling on how much I can be paid. So that was one of the reasons. Now, I think the most important thing for me to like, the time that I'm gonna spend being here with you guys, the most important thing is I answer any questions that you guys wanna know. But first, let me tell you a little bit about who I am, and then you guys can figure out how best to leverage me while I'm here by asking me questions, because I'm here for you. So I don't wanna just sit here and give you a monologue of whatever I want to tell you. I want you guys to ask me, and I'll tell you whatever you guys want to know about business, all right? So a little bit of story on who I am. Like I said, went to high school here in Columbus, went to Walnut Ridge, grew up poor, knew I didn't want to be poor. So I was like, how can I figure this out? So my parents told me, think about going to college. So I was like, okay, maybe I should go to college. So I graduated, and when I was in high school, I picked up this little skill that I didn't know was a skill, but I picked up a skill of learning how to use computers. And this video in the background, I figured it would be something interesting, because this is, also have a YouTube channel. So on my YouTube channel, I share some of my experiences, because I'm a car guy. I like cars. I have like a Lamborghini, I have a Ferrari, I had a Hellcat that's outside. But, finishing this story, went to college. I picked up the skill though when I was in high school. I like video games. So I was like, maybe I can be a programmer and I can make video games, because I started using the computer to download video games. I used to be a hacker. The way I learned how to be a hacker was because I couldn't afford the video games. So I had to, in order for me to get the video games, I had to learn how to do computer code, and then I'll go out and download video games, and I run the video games to different servers and stuff like that. But I learned a skill. I learned how to use computers. So when I went to college, I kind of was like, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I said, I'll just choose computer science, because I know a little bit about computers. Ended up being one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Went to college, learned how to write software, became a software engineer. When I came out, I went into the workforce, right? So I graduated, and when I graduated, I came out of college, I was making about $35,000 a year. $35,000 a year now is not a whole lot of money. I mean, you might be able to afford to get a small apartment, you might be able to afford like a little car payment. But when I came out of college, I ended up staying with my parents for a little while, got me a little car, had my job. I was actually making more money than both of my parents ever made. And I thought I was good until I got that first car payment. I went out and bought a stereo, and I didn't have any money left over. And I started to realize, okay, this is great that I went and got my degree, but I don't want to live check to check. So then I started thinking like, okay, how do I not live check to check, right? I'm living, right? I'm doing okay. But how do I live where I'm not living check to check? And I started thinking about, well, maybe I need to have my own business on the side of my work. So I started using my little computer skills that I learned in college. I learned how to program, and I built a website. It's called hbcuconnect.com. It was one of the first social networks online before Facebook, like a long time ago, right? But it ended up being one of the first ones. It got popular and it blew up. As it was blowing up, I still was working my day job, but I started getting these phone calls while I was at work for people who wanted to advertise on my website. So now, I'm sure everybody's familiar with Facebook. The way Facebook gets paid is people advertise things on Facebook, and Facebook makes billions of dollars every year. So early on, I started getting these phone calls at work from companies that wanted to advertise on my website. And I was like, oh, maybe I have a business with this website that I created as a passion project, just for fun. So after getting all these calls, I said, okay, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves, I'm gonna sit at this computer, and I'm gonna build something where I can make money with this website online. That's exactly what I did. Started making a little bit of money. So I think the first year I started that business, or started getting these phone calls and started doing business, I probably made about extra $8,000 in the year. The next year, I probably made an extra $16,000 in a year. And then the following year, I was like, man, what would happen if I quit my day job and started running this business full time? Maybe I could turn that $16,000 into enough to pay for me to live off of. So I decided, I took a leap of faith. I quit my job. I got a little office on Main Street, and I started doing business. And soon after, I hired my brother, I hired my sister, I hired 2 guys I work with, and the rest is history. So I started doing business, and I started business out of nowhere. Now, a little bit more about me in the story, because like I said, I want you guys to leverage me while I'm here to ask questions. So I'm gonna tell you some things. So if you hear something that's interesting, all you gotta do is raise your hand and ask a question about it. All right, so I started my business. the business went from making about $16,000 a year to the next year I probably made, to be honest with you, at the time I was so busy hustling that I didn't even look at how much money I made. I just looked, can I pay my people? Can I pay myself? Can I pay my bills? And I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna try to just keep getting it bigger and bigger. So I probably made, that next year I probably made $150,000. But the year after that, I probably made about $300,000. The year after that, probably made about $600,000. And now the business does probably $3.5 million a year. So now, when I started that business, nobody gave me any money to like start it. Like a lot of people go out and they raise money and they ask for loans and they start the business that way. Now I'm gonna talk about some of the ways you can start a business, but I just want your brain, I want you to just start thinking. Because whatever your situation is, whatever your passion is, that can turn into a business. And so my situation was, I was poor. I didn't want to be poor anymore. My passion was computers, software. I turned that into a business. Now, once the business started doing well, I was like, okay, my business is doing better, but I'm kind of living check to check because I'm just paying my people. I'm trying to put a little bit of money away. So I saved up about $300,000, right? $300,000 is probably enough to buy a house. But at the time that I saved that money up, it was about 2010. And in 2010, I don't know if anybody remembers, I don't know how old you guys were. I was like, man, that was 13 years ago. You guys are probably babies, right? About 13 years ago, the real estate market like crashed and all around the United States. And everybody was afraid to buy houses. And I was looking at the situation, because I know Columbus, I'm from Columbus. I was like, hold on. Why is everybody afraid to buy a house right now if the prices are super cheap? Because when people are afraid to buy houses, they don't buy, the prices go down. So I said, okay, maybe I can take some of this money that I saved up and I can start a real estate investment company and I can buy some houses. And then maybe that way I can, in the future, I can retire. Because when you're independent, you have your own business, you got to figure that out for yourself. So I said, okay, I'm gonna take this little $300,000 that I saved up, instead of buying or paying off my house, I'm gonna buy some real estate investment properties in Columbus. So I ended up buying probably 4 properties. All of them I paid off with cash because the properties were cheap. I got a property for like $25,000, $35,000, $88,000, and a $90,000 house. Those are my first 4 properties. I became a real estate investor, and I became an investor. So when I did that, and one of the things when you start a business and we start thinking about business is you want to plan things out and you want to be responsible for your own learning. So I had to figure out, I bought 2 books to learn how to invest in real estate. I had YouTube, so I started looking at YouTube videos on how to invest in real estate, and I basically taught myself little by little how to invest in real estate. So like I said, I bought 4 properties. I started talking to some of my friends. One of my buddies in high school had about 100 properties. And I called him up, he was my buddy, he was like one of my good friends. I said, dude, how are you getting all these properties? Because as soon as I buy these 4, I'm out of money. Like I got more money coming in from my business, but I'm trying to figure out how to grow this while the real estate market is low. So he said, let's sit down, we'll have lunch. So he introduced me to banks, right? So I learned how to get banking finance. So where I only had to come up with 20% of the money and the banks gave me the rest of the money to buy more houses while the houses were cheap. So I ended up buying probably 40 houses here in Columbus, and then the market started going back up. So now, what I do now for fun is I started a YouTube channel. You guys can check it out, it's called Will Motivation. Of course I have Instagram, that kind of thing as well. And what I like to do is I like to go around and share my experiences for anybody that cares to know how to do that. So let's talk a little bit about business and entrepreneurship. Anybody got any questions before I get into that? Because I got a question for you guys. Nobody got any questions?
Did you do anything with like crypto and stuff when it came out?
So the question was, did I do anything with crypto? I got a lot of buddies that did some crypto. I did a little bit, but I didn't really get into it. My thing is, I already learned about investing in real estate, and I didn't have any issues. I never lost any money like buying a house in real estate. I had so many options of what I could do with it, and it's a hard asset. So like if the market changes, I don't lose anything if I still have that house and I can rent it out and I can make money off of it every month. Whereas with crypto, if the market fluctuates, I have no control over the market, so I wasn't really comfortable with that. So I stuck with investing in real estate. But I have some buddies that made a lot of money with crypto and lost a lot of money with the crypto. So that's kind of why I stayed away from the crypto. But I mean, if you know what you're doing, like the thing I like about real estate is if the market goes down, then I make money with rent. If the market goes up, then I make money selling houses. So right now, like the market is up. So I'm buying houses and I turn around and selling it. If the market ever goes down, then I'm gonna buy houses and I'm gonna turn around and rent them. So with crypto, I can't do that. Like crypto, if it goes down, you gotta wait, maybe buy some more crypto and then wait for it to go up and then sell it. You know, that kind of, if you know what you're doing, you know how to time it. But I never got into it, so I didn't really mess with the crypto too much. All right, you guys got any more questions before I ask you guys some questions?
How long have you been doing YouTube?
How long have I been doing YouTube? All right, let's talk a little bit about YouTube. So YouTube is actually another business for me. Like I make a little bit of money. About 10 minutes? Okay. So y'all got me for 10 minutes, man. This is the thing that y'all need to know. I'm here for you guys. I know a lot of stuff about how to do things. I know how to make money. I know how to share my experiences. So I want you guys to ask me questions. That's how we get the most out of this, all right? All right, YouTube. You always like, so here's one of the things about Business 101. I don't know what kind of people I have in here, and I'm gonna ask you guys some questions about that. But for me, I don't like standing still because I like to have security. So my security is how many different ways I can make money so that if things go bad, I can rely on this. If things go bad, I can rely on that. If things change, I can do that, right? So one thing about business is you always have to have your eyes open and be looking for opportunities. So what happened with YouTube is I saw the opportunity that people actually started making money with YouTube. And for me, I have this car addiction. So the way I could justify my car addiction is if I use the cars as a way to attract people to say, hey, how did you get that car? And then I can explain it and maybe help them to get on the right path to be able to get that car. So I started YouTube probably about
6 years ago.
About 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So YouTube, it's not a big money maker for me, but there's a lot of people that do make a lot of money with YouTube. I do personally know people that have made over $1 million with YouTube. Me personally, I probably make $30,000 a year with YouTube. But that's not really why I do it. I really do it to share. Like, and it helps me make sense out of owning an expensive car. If I can say, hey, I can use that car and somebody can be interested in, and I can tell them a story and kind of help them if they want a car. Because when I was a kid, I didn't have anybody to show me. There was no Lamborghinis in my family. There was no Lamborghinis in my neighborhood, and no Lamborghinis in the network I had. So I didn't have anybody to tell me that. So I use YouTube as a way to find the younger version of me that's out there looking for their future. So I've been doing it for about 6 or 7 years, YouTube. So any other questions before I ask you guys some questions? Go ahead.
Where's the majority of your homes that you own?
You said where are they? All right, so the question is where are most of the homes that I own? Now, so I'm gonna give you guys some more knowledge, right? So let's say like, I don't know how many people in here, like what is your thing, right? My thing was cars, right? So I waste a lot of money on cars, but I justify it because I have the investments in the real estate. But your thing might be something else. You might be motivated by taking care of your family and security and that kind of thing. Of course, that motivates me as well. So I thought, okay, let me get these houses, right? So the question is, where are most of the houses I have? Most of them are here in Columbus, of course, on the east side, and mostly in Blacklit. And the reason why I got mostly in Blacklit is because I lived in Blacklit for like when I started working, when I came out of college, I worked out close to Blacklit. So I knew Blacklit. It's a zip code, 43004. And I thought when the market started crashing, I was like, hold on, everybody still has a job out here. Why is the real estate so cheap? It's artificial, is what I thought. So I knew that zip code, so I was like, let me buy some houses out here because I know I'm always gonna have people that will rent these houses because they're living here and they can afford it, they have jobs. So I bought most of my houses in Blacklit. and I consider that like safe.
Do you know the property value of the more now?
The property value of my house is, so if anybody didn't hear the question is, what is the property value of my house? Right now, I bought probably 60 to 70 houses, and I keep about 24 houses. The property value of my 24 houses is probably like $6 million, something like that. That's what it looks like. Now the interesting thing is, like, so I don't want you guys to like look at me and think like, oh, that's unattainable or something like that. I'm a regular dude that went to public school, broke, that kind of thing, right? But I just always had my eyes open. Now, I didn't put $6 million into it, though. You know what I'm saying? So what I did is I put what I had. I started out with $300,000. I saved it up over probably about 6-7 year period with my business. If I was working a 9-to-5 job, I wouldn't have been able to save up $300,000 like that. But fortunately, I had a business. The business made some income, then I invested it in the real estate. So I turned that $300,000 into the $6 million. Now I had I was buying and selling real estate, ongoing. And then of course I was growing my other business as well. Then I'm starting other businesses like this as well, right? So that's a really good question. But I think one of the things to take away when we start talking about business is that if you have an idea or you have a passion, you can turn it into a business. So for example, YouTube is a good platform, because if you have a passion about something, you can actually create a YouTube channel as a business and record and share your passion. And whatever that passion might be. Like for me, it was cars, right? But for you, it might be something else. Somebody might like sewing, or somebody might like dancing, or somebody might like something else. It's passion. You can turn that passion into a business. All right, any other questions before I get to asking you guys some questions? Go ahead.
How did you get money for college?
That's a really good question. So the question is, how did I get money for college? Because I was broke, right? I didn't know how I was gonna pay for it. So I got a few little scholarships to get through the first semester of college. So I just started applying for scholarships. I did all right in school. I had like probably in high school I probably had like a 2.9. But I was good in some classes, right? I got a little bit of scholarship money to go to college. But then when I got there, I hustled. And when I say I hustled, I tried to be the best student in the major that I chose. I knew I couldn't be the best student in the university. Well, I didn't think I could because I was in the band and stuff like that. But I tried to be the best student in computer science. When I did that, my dad was like, hey, how are we gonna pay for college? So he started writing letters to the college saying like, help us, like my son is here at the school, we don't know how we're gonna pay for it. So they got those letters. I did my job as a student. I was doing well as a student in the computer science department. They got the letters. AT&T called the school and said, hey, we got some money for a scholarship for one of your students. Who's your best student that doesn't have any money? I got the lottery call one day. I got a scholarship to finish my studies. But there was about 1 or 2 semesters that my parents had to pay, man. They were paying like $1,000 a month. And my parents never paid, my parents never had like a new car or anything. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I felt like I had to hustle, because my parents, I knew they couldn't really afford that. Like I don't know how that was happening. So I knew I had to hustle, right? My dad was writing those letters, you know, to help me get the scholarship. But I paid for it because I had the grades. And of course, I wanted the scholarship. So I got the scholarship. They gave me internships that paid me in the summer. And then when I graduated, they hired me. And that was their goal as well. Y'all got any more questions before I ask you guys a question?
What was the hardest part about having a business?
All right, I love this question. So the question is, what's the hardest part about having your own business? Ooh. The hardest part about having your own business. I think you have to be, so the difference between you having your own business and you working a job is that at a job, they tell you what to do. You got somebody on you, right? You got a boss, you got a manager. When you got your own business, you got to be the boss. You got to be ultimately responsible. All right, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
DJ Lizzy, David J. Girl, break me up with your bubble. Give me good wine with your bubble. Champion things with your bubble. No long things for your bubble. Champion bubble, champion bubble.
Dot.
God, I love muscle cars. It's a nice color too.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, man.
I already followed you, by the way.
Okay. Message me. I'll follow you back.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
All right, bro.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You too.
Unless you consider a Hellcat a supercar. I will have three. I got a Ferrari F8. I got a Lamborghini Huracan. Anybody else got any questions? What kind of networking?
Yeah.
Like with people and stuff?
Yeah.
All right, so the question is, what kind of networking did I have to do? I went to conferences, I met people. I pushed myself because I was like more of an introvert. I didn't like talking to people and stuff. So I had to push myself to network. So I would go to conferences, I would meet people at the conferences, do my business cards. Residential versus commercial. Like a lot of people probably don't even know what they're talking about. Like residential is like houses and apartments and where people live. Commercial is like businesses. Businesses, real estate, right? So like an office building or something, or anywhere you're doing business. So I do primarily residential because it's easy. It's really easy and it's safe. Commercial is a little bit harder in some ways, and it's a little bit riskier in other ways, or a little bit like you gotta wait for your money, might take a little while to get your money back. So I do mostly residential real estate as opposed to commercial. Somebody up here had a question.
How did you learn how to start a business?
How did I learn how to start a business? All right, so here's the question. How did I learn how to start a business? Like, did I have to go to school to start a business? So no, I didn't take any courses. I didn't go to school to learn how to have my own business. I went online. I said, okay, what makes a business official? You have to register your business with the city or state, like the local government. And that's super easy, like a 1 or 2 page form to start a limited liability company. So I just learned how to do that by going online, figuring out, okay, how do you start a business? If you search on how to start a business, that's like one of the first things that will come up. So I did that and I had a business. But everything else was really me just doing the business. It's almost like if you had a lemonade stand or something, right? You don't really need anybody to do a course on having a lemonade stand or anything like that. You just get the lemonade, you make your lemonade, you get your place where you're gonna sit, and your location. All right, I'm gonna sell lemonade right here and see what pops off. Same thing with any kind of business. I started doing my website. I had a website. I just did it, and then it worked. That's all you had a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What age did you start doing all that?
How old was I when I started my business? So I graduated college when I was 21. I started my business when I was 4 years later, so I was 25 when I started. But like with the internet, you guys had like the internet. I didn't have like the internet was just starting when I was like graduating, and it didn't have as many resources on it. But with the internet, like if it was me now, like in high school, I probably would have had a business because I would have been looking on the internet and I would have saw somebody else doing a business and I would have tried to do it.
Working for an employer.
Right, so that's the number one reason, in my opinion, the number one reason why people don't have their own business is the risk related to it, right? So the thing about having your own, like when I had to choose to do my own business, like I worked in corporate America for like 9 or 10 years. I had a steady paycheck coming in. When I finished working there, I was making about $90,000 a year, which is good. I had a wife, I had 2 little kids. So it was risky when I was like, I want to do my own business. Because I'm making good money here, but if I quit, I don't know how much money I'm going to make next year. But there's risk and reward. I knew if I stayed in that business, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, really. I wasn't following my passion. And I knew I had a limit. Like I told a story earlier about how I had a meeting with my boss. And I told my boss, he was like, we're having like our review meeting, the annual review, right? So when you have your corporate job and they do these reviews with you, and your boss is gonna tell you if you're doing good or bad or that kind of thing, you're gonna get a raise or not. So I told my boss, I was like, my goal is I want to get a raise. I want to be at the top level of the engineers. And my boss looked right at me in my eyes, like across from the desk, and he was like, I don't see it. So basically, my boss was telling me I had a limit. He didn't see my potential, and he told me that to my face. And so I sat there and thought about it. I was like, wow, somebody has the audacity to tell me like he didn't see my potential, and like I'm stuck. That I'm basically gonna, if I work for him, I'm gonna be stuck making the money that I make. And basically I have a ceiling, and it's this boss right here. So for me, the risk was worth it, like because the reward would be that I don't have somebody sitting there telling me what my limit is. So I took that risk, right? But it was a calculated risk. So I actually started my business on the side first. So I had my job, I started the business on the side. I made a little bit of money the first year. I made like $8,000. The second year I made about $16,000. The third year I quit and I made about $150,000, right? And so that same boss, when we go to have wings like every Wednesday, now I pull up in a Lamborghini. And I don't say anything to him. But he's the same boss that told me he didn't see me getting a promotion. See what I'm saying? So I didn't have that limit. So for me, I envisioned that and I could see like, I knew my potential. I believed in myself, right? I bet on myself. But I think the number one thing that stops people from starting their own business, either they don't have a vision or a dream, or they're afraid of the risk. And so what I tell you is you take a calculated risk. You have a business, you do your 9 to 5. You keep the steady money coming in. But then you start, you follow your passion, you have hobbies, you do things, and you make money on the side. Like, example of that is this YouTube channel, right?
Whenever you were younger, did you like party, or were you more disciplined and focused on like financial stuff like this?
I love these questions. So you said, when I was younger, did I party? I wanted to, but like when I was in college, I used to always think to myself, dang, like if I didn't have to go to these classes, I could like kick it. Like I could be out here like having fun. But I just knew it was on the line, man. My parents paid for part of my college. And when they were paying for it, they were struggling. So I didn't feel right risking their money and their struggle because I want to go party, because it's just not right. So they were making that sacrifice for me. So I had a little bit of fun. I just like little normal stuff you do like on a college campus. But my main thing was, like when other people are out partying, I'm gonna be in here getting. And then when I started my business, I almost was like I was possessed. It was almost like I was obsessed when I started my business. The only thing I did for fun was I watched boxing on the weekends. That was my thing. I watched boxing on the weekends. Didn't really have any vacations. You know what I mean? But I grinded, man. I grinded. Because I had a 9 to 5. You all right back there? You dropped that.
You dropped himself.
It's a business.
When you were starting your business, did you have investors? Did you pay for it all out of your own pocket? And if you did get investors, how did you go about doing it?
Man, y'all asked some good questions, man. I appreciate that. Okay, so did I have investors? Short answer is no. Okay. The best investment you can have is knowledge. Learning a skill that you can get paid a lot of money for. That's the best investment. Because I use that skill to make a little bit of money, and then I have a little bit of money and invest in my own business. So I like bought my web servers, but I was writing code because I knew how to do it. I didn't have to pay anybody to write code. Now, if I had to pay somebody, I had to go get investors. I got to pay a team of people to write the code and stuff. I knew how to do it. So I invested in myself. Now, once I got my business up and running, then the bank will give me money. Like the bank, when I buy houses, I can get a bank to give me 80% of the money for a house. Okay. With my business, I had like little loans here and there, but I didn't like really having too much debt. I like to like earn the money and then know how much money I have and not owe a whole lot. Okay. You gotta bet on yourself and let that work ethic be the determining factor. Yeah. All right, man, take care, bro. Yep. On YouTube, and I've actually seen those videos because I got friends that run trucking companies. Right. Yes, sir, man. Good luck with that. Yeah, thank you.
Good luck with it.
Yep. How can I address you? Just a Will, Mr.
Whatever.
Will. I gotta go run to another side.
Okay. All right. Good. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
thank you
for sure.
I'll see you again.
Thanks, man. Hey. Nice to meet you too. I just want to say, thank you for coming to talk to us.
Yeah,
your stories, it's really inspiring.
What are you good at?
What am I good at? Oh man,
I've been asking myself that for a long time. Like what am I good at?
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna tell you. And I'm asking these questions so I can give you something, right? So the thing I'm gonna give you is, if you don't already know what you're good at, keep trying different things. Like get involved, like use your time to try getting into things. Like it might be a computer programming class. It might be even sports and stuff like that. It might be whatever opportunities show up to try things, try to find out what you're good at and what you like. Because if you can combine what you like and what you're good at, then that may be a perfect opportunity for you to start a business. But then also look at what other people are doing. Like one thing that I love about YouTube is I saw, like, the way I started my YouTube channel, I wanted to have a Lamborghini, right? So I was like looking at Lamborghinis on YouTube, and I saw this guy who had a YouTube channel. He had a Lamborghini. He was an accountant. So I'm like, how's he got it? He can't afford that, right? But I figured if he did it, because he started making money off of YouTube. So I got the idea, wow, if he can make money off of YouTube, I can do that too. So you gotta be looking at stuff like trying to soak up, maybe I can do that, and then try it.
Oh, I've tried a lot of things. I tried to start my own SMMA course. SMMA, like social media marketing agency. I'm starting my own real estate, like aerial photography business, because I like.
Okay, so you're already trying some things. So if you're already trying those things, see which one you like, and then invest and focus on it. Because like if I was trying to do a bunch of different businesses when I started my main business, it might not have worked because I was diluting my focus. But once I figured out the one that I liked and what I was passionate about, I went all in on that one. And then when that one started doing good, then I started the other businesses on the side. So you can take the one out of the things that you're trying out. The one can be two things: the one that you like and that you're passionate about, or the one that shows potential to make a little bit of money, right? Because then if you make a lot of money, you can dabble into other stuff.
Yeah, it's just scary. It really is.
Don't be scared, man. It's an opportunity. Think about what it's going to be like when you have what you want. When your business is successful and you're successful, think about that. Then it's not as scary because that's what's going to be your future. If you follow your dream, then it's not scary because you're going to be like, I'm going to be like that one day. And even if you think you had like a failure or something didn't work, you just learned. You just keep trying until you hit. Then you'll hit, man. You'll be all right.
You gotta take a lesson out of it.
Yeah, you learn from that stuff, but you don't get discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Like that's not. I mean, you get discouraged about like personal stuff, but business, no. You learn in business. You try stuff, and you keep learning and keep trying, and then you'll be successful. That's how it works. Like if I see you and you keep trying businesses, and you really keep trying, and you're focused, and you're not really paying attention, then what I'm going to think about you is that one day he's going to hit something that's going to work. He's gonna be successful.
I'm trying so hard. Like, I'm flying.
But don't be discouraged though, man. Like people that are entrepreneurs, we're different. So like we're not gonna be like the rest of the people. Like because they're the rest of the people, they're gonna be the people that work for you. Like let's keep it real. But you can't be discouraged. You just take them along with you when you get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm different though. I'm different. But that's what makes the world work. Like we're all different. You got some people that own Kroger's, and you got people that work for Kroger's.
Right now, I'm the guy that works at Kroger.
It's okay.
I work at Kroger.
I work there too. Got the bags, clean the floor, clean the bathroom, all that. You got to stay focused, like on what you want out of life, and then you got to do those things that it takes to figure out what you want and act accordingly. Got it? You got my Instagram?
Yeah.
All right, then you can hit me up anytime.
For real?
Yeah.
Dang.
He did it.
I don't have any social media.
I don't blame you. There's a lot of distractions. But he did it. He did it. And I told him everything. He wants to do something. You can do this, you can do that. It's up to you, but you can do this, and this. And you'll probably be straight. You know? And he's still here. Years, you know what I'm saying? But I'm his friend. Like, I'm just trying to help him. Like, that's it. So why wouldn't he, take advantage of that? So if I have time, I do a lot of stuff, so I don't have, time to be sitting around wasting time. But if you ask me a question, I'll try to give you an answer. All right? But don't be discouraged. First up, talking to the kids at Eastland Career Center in Columbus, Ohio. Some really great questions. I'm a little rusty on my little speaking skills or whatever, but I think the kids got something out of it. The whole point is just sharing experiences, because I remember when I was in high school, I would have loved to have access to somebody that could tell me how to get where I wanted to go. Because now the life that I live, I'm essentially where I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? It probably turned out better than I expected. So that's the whole point of me doing this. So I want to just share with the kids. We've got some really good questions. We did 4 sessions, and I want to give a big shout out to the administrators at Eastland Career Center that invited me here. So big shout out to you guys, and to all the kids that came to the class and paid attention and asked questions. So got some more content with the Hellcat coming. We like to switch things up a little bit and do some other, interesting content to just show you guys and share with you guys some of these experiences. All right. So drop me a comment. Let me know what you want to see next on the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.
It's the one and only Floyd Money Mayweather. I'm here to tell you guys to go to Wheel Motivation. The exotic cars is crazy. I've been watching this show for a little while now, and it's growing. But we need everybody else to subscribe to Wheel Motivation and support Will. I'm supporting them. You do the same.